Good afternoon, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Fantasy Football Harsh Reality, the only fantasy football show that literally only 6 to 7 people give a fuck about. And none of that is my family. So I'm very proud of that. I'm glad to be here. I come out here on the Facebook Live so my friends can chime in and we can all talk about the week that was. We're talking, right now, we're talking about week 12. And week 12, Robert Pulliam, hey buddy, welcome to the show. Ray Anderson, how are you? Fantasy football, harsh reality. How was your weekend? How did your week 12 work out? Because I'll tell you how it worked out for me. It's starting to turn. In the beginning of the season, I had another 2-0 weekend. And which was amazing because I didn't expect, I started out hot. I started out with 2-0 weekends, both my leagues dominating, doing great, and then everything went sideways through the middle of the season. And now, baby, I'm back. And this is my second 2-0 weekend. There is Janelle Severisi. What a beautiful Italian last name. Welcome to the show, Fantasy Football Harsh Reality. It's actually a podcast, but I do the Facebook Live thing specifically so that so I can interact with my friends on Facebook. So if you do fantasy football, if you have any friends, Tamara Catan, Jew Pork in my Comedians League, he won this week, got his third win, beating up the Killer Kitties. Way to go, way to pound that pussy. That's what you, Tamara Catan, pounding the pussy. Now, how are the Saints going to do? Well, listen, this week they're up against my beautiful, look at me, I'm Dallas Cowboys out. Look at the hats. I love me some Cowboys. And yes, Tamara Catan, I rose to number 1 in our fantasy football league this week, which was, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so back to what I was saying, which was earlier in this run, like I was doing great, and then everything went sideways. I don't know what was happening. Like I had my key pieces in place, but they just weren't paying off. And so now I feel like we have a lot of the key pieces have come back together, and now we've had 2-0 weekends, and it was crazy because, like Tyler Boyd, okay, I was faced with the Tyler Boyd dilemma again, and okay, so the lesson that I've learned this season is to just not tinker with my lineup the morning of the games. Just whatever I've done all the analysis. I've made my choices, and then sure enough, I wake up and I watch the morning football shows, and they say something that I'm like, oh, I should take advantage of that. I should switch them out. Okay, so this time, It was Tyler Boyd. They're like, AJ Green is out again. They're up against Cleveland. Like it just had all the earmarks of, hey man, go in there and rock this fucking weekend and put in Tyler Boyd. But I would have had to take out either DeAndre Hopkins, not taking him out. He's never coming out of the game, right? Mike Evans, okay, who again, you just don't, when he goes off, it's for 31 points. And then Stephon Diggs. And my feeling was take out Stephon Diggs because Adam Thielen had that week game before. Terry Asadorian, how are you? Santos Esteban, how are you, Terry? Hello, hola. From my kitchen office, look at me doing my little show. So, I was like, I wanted to put in Tyler Boyd so much. But because I felt like it was going to be a down game for Stephon Diggs, I felt like it was going to be all about Adam Thielen in a bounce back game. So I was worried, I was concerned. And I talked to my fiance Summer, and Summer was like, "Don't do it. Don't you change those players, because every week you change those players and you fucking regret it." And I was like, you're right. I can't change the players. I said I was going to do this, and that's what I'm doing. Okay. So I sit down, and I mean, it was a physical, it was like going through withdrawals of heroin. I was just like, I want to make a change. I want to fuck with my team. But I held on. I didn't change anything out. And let me tell you something. Through 2.5 quarters, it looked like 1,000% the right decision. Tyler Boyd didn't get shit against Cleveland. And then a miracle happened. Andy Dalton got knocked out for the season. And they brought in this idiot named Driscoll. You just traded for Boyd and didn't think he was going to do anything, and he made the trade worth it. That's right, Jesse Gambino, because that's when Driscoll came in. He literally went from like 0.4 points to 18 points with a touchdown. He went off with this Driscoll kid, which then I was like, oh my God, what was I doing? Now, that being the case, that being said, Stephon Diggs did give me around 18 points, and so did Mike Evans. So there's no real loss there, and I was way ahead going into Monday night with Nuke Hopkins. So I didn't end up, so it really ended up, because I was never going to change him out for Nuke Hopkins. That was never going to happen. Leslie Lester Osborne, how are you? Congratulations, Judge. It's a pleasure to see you here on Facebook. So I was never going to take him out. I was never going to take out Nuke Hopkins, and he was the only guy that actually underperformed at 9 points. You traded Bell and the Rams D for Olsen and Boyd. Hey, listen, Olsen's been doing pretty good, and the tight end position is so weak. I've been expecting him to go out, to be knocked back out of the game with a foot injury every second that he's played since he came back. But he's managed to stay in the games and managed to be, relatively effective considering how few points are really going around to tight ends. I mean, especially since you traded Bell, which that was just smart because whoever that is, they got fucked. Although that Rams defense, I think, is going to make a big difference down the stretch. I have them in my league of record, and I'm leaning on them, especially this week versus Detroit. I think they feast pretty good versus Detroit this week. I think that's a good matchup for them. But I managed to hold off, and of course, because I didn't make the trade, because I didn't make the switch in my lineup, I wound up being fine, and Boyd ended up putting up 18 points. But if I made that switch, that he would have put up 4 points, and I would have been killing myself, and probably would have lost my game. Actually, probably not, but. And that's just the way that goes. Yes, it's rare that you get away with a trade. Can I tell you, in my league, I traded when Devin Funchess had like 3 15-point games in a row. I traded Devin Funchess to the commissioner of my league, this dipshit named Nick. Okay? I'm kidding, Nick. You know I love you, buddy. But I traded him for Mark Ingram because it was one of those sell high, buy low. Because Mark Ingram he came back, had one good game, and then was stinking for the next 2 games. And so I traded him Mark Ingram for Devin Funchess. Now Mark Ingram is back, although this week he kind of laid an egg, but so did Kamara. And he got Devin Funchess, who didn't even play and looks like he's not even a part of this offense anymore. I mean, yeah, he was banged up this week, but I mean, it's clearly now Samuels and Moore, and he's out. So that's one of those trades that feels pretty righteous to me too. Sometimes you get one. But I also passed on a couple of trades that I really wish I'd taken. Like, for example, even though I won my game and I managed to climb to number 1 in my league of record, I had the opportunity to trade Antonio Brown for Christian McCaffrey. And Christian McCaffrey has that amazing, sweet schedule down the run, and he put up huge points, and Antonio Brown didn't do shit. I was really kicking myself for not making that trade. But the fact of the matter is I managed to pick up some pretty good defenses off the waiver wire, and because I had Josh Adams now and Gus Edwards, I really wasn't in a position where I had to trade that bad because I had Melvin Gordon, but of course now Melvin. But I've been holding on to Austin Eckler every single game this season because this is always an issue with Melvin. He always gets a little dinged up and has to go out for 2 or 3 games. I wish it happened earlier, but this is why. But Austin Eckler I look forward to starting Austin Eckler. I think he's easily going to do as well. I think he should do as well as Melvin Gordon. I mean, I think we're looking at one of those kind of Connor Bell situations with the guy behind him. He's got the juice, baby. He's got the juice. Yes, he's Danny Woodhead. Exactly. He comes out, catches a bunch of balls, gets a bunch of yards, does amazing. So I'm not worried about starting him, although ultimately I would rather, obviously, I want Melvin Gordon back because Melvin Gordon's a beast. I mean, if you don't have Gurley, I mean, you want to have either then Saquon Barkley or Melvin Gordon. Simple as that. So that's been great. Now, going into Monday night, remember I said everything went sideways, and now things are starting to break my way again. Before, nothing was breaking my way. Now it's starting to break my way again, which is what you want going into the playoffs. You could see things starting to work in your favor, and your stars starting to come online and do exactly what they're supposed to do. Maxwell Solway, how are you, buddy? So that's what happened. Going into Monday night, I definitively won my game, which was a must-win in my league of record, the league Silent Nation League, which is a very competitive 10-team league. And I I had to win it to get into the playoffs. I was sitting at 7th place, and if I could win, I could climb up, and now I'm in 5th place. Now, I had already won that game thanks to the Ravens D. In my mind, I was like, I'm going to get 32 fucking points out of this Ravens D. And the guy that I beat in my Comedians League, I even texted him. I said, here's the problem. The Ravens D is woefully underprojected. And I was like, they're at least 10 points under, and that's where you're going to get caught, and that's exactly what the fuck happened. 28 motherfucking points, baby. That shit was dynamite. And that really put me over in that league. So I didn't as much need, and Saquon Barkley, what was that? He comes out, he got 32 points in the first half, and then disappeared. And according to all the reports, he isn't injured. They just didn't put him in, which is mind-boggling because they lost the fucking game. So I feel like he maybe tweaked his hammy, he just a little bip, and because of that, they're not worried about putting him back in the game. They were like, nah, just hold him out. We can't risk him. So, never trust a Penn State running back. Are you kidding me? This guy's the fucking shit. You are wrong about that. You can trust this guy. He's winning games. I'm riding him all the way to a championship. He gave me 32 points. 32 points in the first half, and they took him out. That drove me nuts, but it was fine. So, I'd already won that game. Now, to win and vault into first place in my Comedians League, I needed DeAndre Hopkins to not score more than 14 points. And he was projected for 15. But I was like, this has one of those feelings because, what's his name? Their head coach in Tennessee, Vrabel, first, he came from the Texans, so he knows them inside and out. And he's from the Belichick tree. And what does Belichick do on defense? He takes away your best player, right? Joey, what's up, buddy? Okay, so he takes away the best player. So I was like, so here's what they're going to do. They're going to take away DeAndre Hopkins, and that's exactly what they did. He got no touchdowns. They threw it to Demaryius Thomas, wound up getting 2 because that's the Patriots style of defense. But consequently, he only got 9 points, and I ended up beating the hooligans, Big Irish Jay Hollingsworth, up his fucking ass. And he was trying to reverse jinx me all day. He was trying to congratulate me on my win. I'm like, oh no, congratulations to you, sir. Congratulations. Oh no, you are guaranteed to win. DeAndre Hopkins, easily will score the 15 points. Oh, and I got it, baby. I got it. I'm in first fucking place. But I don't expect to stay there. But I think even if I lose, I think I'll only slip to second place and still get a bye week, and that's really all I care about. So I think that's going to happen, even if I lose this week, just because I've got the most points. Second most points. He's going to get somewhere hurt before his next contract. Well, of course, he's a running back. Contract, that happens. The question, what you're saying is he's going to suffer like a career-ending injury, like a Willis McGahee kind of total knee fucking blowout, and that is not going to happen. This kid's built like a fucking oak tree, top to bottom. If anything, it's just a minor. He'll be fine, and he's going to be a legend in this league, especially once they get a decent fucking quarterback there in the Giants. The Packers' defense against against the Cardinals. Oh, listen, I was watching that game. The Cardinals are a better team they have a very good defense. They have a surprising defense. But obviously the offense is kind of in shambles, and the new OC really hasn't made that much of a difference. So I would play that. If you're streaming defenses, that sounds like a pick. But again, I'm not looking at that game just yet. I'm not looking at it. Penn State curse. Fuck you, Jesse Gambino. You're full of shit. There's no Penn State curse. Kid's gonna be a star. Kajara, Carter, Curtis. Hey, listen, none of those guys are Saquon Barkley. Okay, and listen, all curses come to an end. Look at the Red Sox, the curse of the babe. It came to an end, and then all of a sudden they've been back to the World Series a couple times. So all curses come to an end, and I assure you, that curse, if it is real, comes to an end with Saquon Barkley. Wait a minute, hold on. Howard, what's going on? Okay, Bears defense against the Vagina. Oh my God, again, you guys, I'm not quite talking about week 13 yet, but I have looked at that game, and the Bears defense, listen, they're going to the only person I like on that offense is Saquon Barkley if he plays. Otherwise, I mean, they're going to feast. They're going to hit Eli Manning. We're talking about like 9 sacks, probably 2 interceptions, 1 for a pick 6. Like, it is going to be Thanksgiving on next week when the Bears visit the Giants. It's a very tough day for the Giants. And I'm even worried about Saquon Barkley in that game because, again, that's the one guy they really have to shut down. Everybody else is going to get beat the fuck up. And I agree with you. I do agree with you about the Florida quarterbacks. Those guys, they've been, I mean, look at Bortles, look at Winston. I mean, you know, they tend to have quarterbacks that look great on paper and just don't fucking deliver in the NFL. But again, all curses are meant to be broken. It could happen. But I appreciate the commentary, Jesse Gambino. Thank you for tuning in. But yeah, man, it was one of those weeks where everything cut my way. DeAndre Hopkins got just few enough points to let me win that fucking game. So I'm in first place in that league, and and I've jumped up to 5th place in my league of record, which again, I should be in first or second place. Like points-wise, I think I've got number 1 or number 2 most points, but I just have managed to coach myself to defeat over and over again. There's a couple of moves that stick out of my mind, like playing Adrian Peterson instead of Ingram a few weeks ago. Oh, that was death. John Johnson, how are you doing? Are you going to be in the playoffs? Because this is that time where you're either in or you're out. And it's fun watching some teams just get really deflated. Like just really just fucking donkey punch. You can see it in their texts, on your league texts. They're like, fuck me. And I have to be honest, normally I'm one of those guys that's like, fuck my, blah, blah, blah. But again, things are starting to break my way, and they could break the other way. That's absolutely true. But I feel like when things start to kind of bunk, 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 you know, the mojo, I feel like we got some Midnight Cowboys mojo, and I want to ride it all the way to 2 championships. I played for 2 championships, not last year, the year before, and I won 1 and lost 1. But this year, I want them both. I'm gunning for Dos Equis. So, but this week was a very strange week. There's a lot of interesting, Melvin Gordon going down. Obviously, thank God it's not like he's gone for the season. So hopefully, if you hang in there, if you got Melvin Gordon, I think Austin Eckler's going to do great. But again, he's just that's right, Cowboys for life. That's right, Jesse. But there were a lot. Let's look at the games themselves and get some notes. So what happened with you guys? Did you have any big challenges? Anything that came through? Any big bets? And that's the thing. I mean, I have a lot of questions going into this week. And we're going to do on Thursday, we'll be doing the Week 13 show. I may do it tomorrow. It's hard to say. Yeah, you got the Giants, man. Wow. I mean, to have the talent that you guys have and just put up these stinkers, one right after the other. How about the Jets giving New England some trouble? Although Gronk, dude, one of the guys, somebody dropped Gronk in my comedians league, and now the guy that I'm playing this week he picked him up off the waiver wire. I didn't even see he was on the waiver wire. I'm so mad. Not that he would have got him before me anyway, because he was further down the list, because I've been at the top of that league pretty much the whole season, toward in the top 4, so everyone always got the big steals out of me, but he got fucking Gronk, and then Gronk came out with a 2-touchdown fucking big game. Fuck. I know, why drop Gronk? Again, and that's one of the things you have to remember. There's certain rules you have to play by, and one of them is you don't drop marquee talent. Even if they're having a bad year, even if their team, you keep them on your bench because you never know when they're going to turn it around. Because that's what marquee talent always has the possibility to do. Like, I've got LaShawn McCoy sitting on my bench, and every now and again, but you can't predict it. So unless I'm desperate, I'm not going to play him. But I'm keeping him. I'm not letting anybody else play him. Watson and Thomas came through. Oh my God, yes. If you held on to Demaryius Thomas and you actually played him, because most people were not playing him, I would have said to play him this week. I think I did say to play him. I think maybe I didn't. I never really go back and review my work because I ain't got that kind of time. But yeah, if you played Thomas, you should have been happy. And again, what I was saying about Vrabel taking away the best player, obviously DeAndre Hopkins. So and that's what I was thinking. I was like, this should be a Demaryius Thomas game. And sure enough, it was. So yeah, if you played him. Now Watson, I know McCaffrey with the one, I know. And I could have traded. But again, back to what I was saying about marquee guys that could just go off at any time, I could have traded Antonio Brown for Christian McCaffrey. But my wide receivers are so thin, and I just kind of restocked on running backs. I felt like it was more important for me to keep him because, like that out of nowhere 82-yarder this week it went to Juju Smith-Schuster. But, 2 weeks ago it went to my man Antonio, and that's what that's always there. And people are going to have to start putting a spy on McCaffrey at all times. It's as simple as that. But again, if you put a spy on McCaffrey, then now, what's his name is loose? Cam Newton. So you got problems when you try and scheme up against the Carolina Panthers. And Corey Davis, listen, he's a guy I would have said do not play Corey Davis, not against that defense. But hey, listen, the guy's been showing up. They're starting to find some real chemistry between him and Mariota, even though Mariota, generally speaking, kind of sucks donkey dicks. Just a little bit. You pulled out the victory by a few points because of Thomas. Listen, that exactly. And you were and that's one of those prayers that rarely gets answered. You know what I mean? Like, you need big points from a wide receiver too that's probably playing in your flex, and you need big numbers. That's the kind of prayer that normally goes unanswered, or maybe gets close just enough to tease you and then fuck you. And that's what happens. But you got lucky that night, and and that's the way I felt about the DeAndre Hopkins being held under 14 points. Every play, it looked like they were going to go deep to DeAndre, but they had him doubled up, and it worked out in my favor. Spying McCaffrey also opened doors for DJ Moore in the passing game. He would still be on one-on-one coverage. I don't think it would change it that much. And he's not that kind of overwhelming talent that you have to bracket him every single play. So I think it's really more about loosening up. Oh, yes. And for those of you, thank you, Tamara Catan. Excuse me. If you're in Los Angeles tonight, my Comedians Fantasy Football League, we had an amazing opening show at the Ha Ha Cafe where all 12 comedians from my league, or 10 out of 12, we all performed one big show. It was fucking amazing. We're doing our end of season spectacular tonight. It's at a bar in El Segundo. The Gundo. We're rocking the Gundo. And that's tonight at 9 o'clock at Flights. The bar is called Flights because it's kind of off the airport. And I guess flight attendants and pilots and shit go there. But it's called Flights. It's tonight in El Segundo. Tamara Catan's going to be on it. Big J Hollingsworth. Jack Astorian Jr. Vanessa Hollingsworth. What was it? Vanessa Graddick. Oh my God. Jay Hollingsworth. Vanessa Graddick. I don't know what the fuck I'm thinking of. So they're all it's going to be Dave Williamson, who's now in second place, or third. He's now in third place because the kid's on top, baby. So that's going to be coming up. Cam Newton is no longer a run threat. That's not true. He is absolutely a run threat at all times. If you think that Cam Newton is not a run threat, then you are not paying attention to football. Tamara, woo! Anthony the Butcher. What are you? You're in second place? You holding on to second? Listen, man, I got in there, clawed my way back into the playoffs, and now all I got to do is beat the bitch who's a downtrodden piece of shit. No, I'm kidding. He's a great guy, and and we'll see how it goes with him. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully I can pull it out. I need the win, but I feel like even if I lose based on points, I still would take the 6th seed in our league based on the standings. I think even if I lose, I think I can still make it in. I think I've won enough with enough points. But I don't want to win enough. I want to actually win this game and go home with the title. So we'll see. I don't want to risk it. I don't want to leave it up to the math. I don't want to leave it up to the judges. But the Jets, they gave New England a bit of a run. How about Dallas lighting up them Redskins? Listen, once again this week, I'm picking against my beautiful Dallas Cowboys because it seems like every time I pick against the Dallas Cowboys, they win. And everyone is improbable. Atlanta, all the rest of them. And now, the most improbable of them all will be this Thursday night versus the New Orleans Saints. I will have a fresh bottle of Jack Daniels. I will be live, Facebook living through the game, going bananas. It's going to be my first live broadcast. It should be a lot of fun. So tune in for that on Thursday night. But Dallas delivering the Thanksgiving turkey. Let me tell you something. Oh my God. It is amazing to me how much Dallas's outcome affects my ability to enjoy the flavor of food. And you're looking at someone who loves food. Okay, that is one of my true pleasure centers. And I mean, when they lose, it is the like driest bird. It is the untasty, the least mashed potatoes. It is the most deviled of eggs. I can't even taste it. But when they win, it is sweet ambrosia, plate after plate. And I mean, that game, listen, with my other friends, what's your take on the Raiders? Oh, Darnell, please. Listen, I knew I was going to win last week because I was playing the Ravens defense versus the Raiders, and I knew it was going to be blah, 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 blah. And the Raiders came out and scored first and actually looked pretty good. I'm like, what the hell is happening? You wake up, you fucking Ravens, you wake up. And sure enough, they fucking were like, what are we doing? We're the fucking Ravens. And they just fucking ate them and they tore them apart. Brian Monarch, how are you, buddy? My brother in comedy. Good to see you, my man. Just talking fantasy football. I love that video you posted of you as a kid and your first comedy jokes. That was adorable. That was awesome. Jonathan Mesh, the juice is loose. This asshole's in first place with the least points. He has like the lowest points for in the league. And this week, that's right, Mesh, you're number one in my league of record. I'm number one in my comedians league. I got 1-1, but I'm coming for you, brother. I'm coming for you, my man. Okay? We're not done. We're not done. My Rams defense versus Detroit this week. Oh, that is going to be Thanksgiving part 2, baby. I don't know that the Saints. I'm going to listen. I keep predicting against the Cowboys and they keep winning. So I'm going to say yes. The Saints are going to feast all over the Cowboys. That's not really what I think. Actually, here's the thing. I do believe that the Saints are going to win the game, but the strength of the Cowboys is their defense. And they're going to, so I do think Drew Brees throws for a lot of yards, 300 plus, and scores 4 touchdowns. I think they kind of shut down the run game, but I think it's closer than you think. I think it winds up being, and possibly lower scoring. It could wind up being like 24-17, something like that. I know it seems like the Saints should run away with it, but again, the strength, and that's why I'm a little worried about starting Mark Ingram, because again, the Dallas defense is good. They're going to work to shut down the run. So really, and their weakness is kind of the secondary. I really see New Orleans throwing the ball a lot. I think Michael Thomas has a huge day. I think Drew Brees, again, over 300 yards, 3 to 4 touchdowns. The Rams can't take the Lions lightly, and I don't think they will take the Lions lightly, but they still will. I think that defense, they really have one major receiver in Kenny Golladay, and we have, all of the firepower necessary to shut him down. And then you have that line, and this offensive line for Detroit is not good. Not good. I think the Rams, and again, like the Bears for the Giants, I think the Rams defense gets 6 to 7 sacks, a couple fumbles, 2 picks, and one of them a pick 6. I think it's a monstrous day for the Rams defense, especially because it's indoors. It's not like they have to worry about weather. And Joey Ebeline says, word is Talib will be back for the Rams. Yeah, if Talib is back, it's going to be delightful to watch. And look for Gurley to run all over them, because simply that defense will get tired. They're going to be on the field way too fucking much. And again, yes, Goff's going to go off. I even I'm the only guy I'm not going to play, even though I picked him up, was the Reynolds guy, Josh Reynolds. And I got to see another game. I mean, that game seemed like, that was his game because the defense scheme, worked out that way. But I think you're going to have no trouble getting the ball to Brandon Cooks. I think you're going to have no trouble getting the ball to Woods. I think they're going to do fine. So, and I just don't know how much you're going to need to get it to Josh Reynolds in this game. So I'm not particularly going to play Josh Reynolds. So that should be, that's going to be very interesting. But Dallas, they served up that feast. They made my life feel so very, very good. That was a great game. Let's look at the rest of the scoreboard. Bears, of course, feasting on the Lions. But that, you had to admit, they really need Trubisky back. That game could have gone the other way with their defense playing an amazing game and getting them points. The defense scored points, and that's what made them win that game. So the Bears are not exactly the same team without Mitch Trubisky. This other, what's his name, Chase Daniel, was not great. Let's be clear, not great. Saints beating up on those Falcons, boy. And that's what's so scary. I love the Saints. They're a scary team. Falcons, they ate a dick pretty good. Patriots at the Jets, that was surprising. It took Tom Brady a while to get going, boy, I'll tell you. Browns at the Bengals. Look at the Browns now. Oh, my God. And listen, I last week, there was, I forgot who it was, but we had the trio of Ingram, Chubb, and Mixon. It was like, which two of the three? And I didn't choose Chubb. Remind me to never not choose Chubb again. This kid is dynamite. They got the right plays going for him. I like these guys. I think Chubb is really going to do something. So, and God, Devin Funchess, boy, he disappeared, huh? Sony Michel looks great. Sony Michel is back, and if you got him, you're happy about him. I think I beat a team with him. Yes, Joey Bosa for the Chargers defense. If you picked him up for the waiver wire, or if you've been holding on to him, they are back. Joey Bosa is back and wrecking shop. And that was a weird thing about the Arizona. Let's talk about the Arizona-San Diego game. In the first half, I'm like, is the Arizona defense as good, or is San Diego taking them this lightly? Who's your choice for best QB? I mean, obviously, right now, it's a toss-up. Thank you, Darnell. Obviously, it's a toss-up between Patrick Mahomes and Drew Brees. I mean, without question, Drew Brees, and everyone's so excited by Patrick Mahomes, and he is doing unbelievable numbers, but Drew Brees is doing it with a professionalism and a completion percentage that is simply unheard of. I mean, I don't know. For me, it's a coin toss. Let's see how they end the rest of the season, so... But either one of those guys, it's between those two. Mahomes, he's just so fucking magical. It's like Deshaun Watson was this way last season, and he isn't so much that way this season. You wonder if Mahomes might see a sophomore drop-off of the same type, when we get to next season. Is he going to be this? Can he keep this up? Can he keep this up? And it took a minute to get, obviously, Melvin Gordon going, and then he got going, and it was fucking phenomenal. What did I say about Theo Riddick versus LeGarrette Blount, though? What did I say about that? I said, please play Theo Riddick. And sure enough, he got like 9 fucking points. And LeGarrette Blount got 2 fucking touchdowns. I told you. The problem with Theo Riddick, yes, he's going to catch some balls, but he ain't going to get no touchdowns, which is exactly what happened. He would get close. They'd be like, thank you, Theo. Good work, little guy. Get the fuck out of here. And then they would bring in LeGarrette Blount, and he would take the fuck over. And he scored 2 touchdowns with like 26 yards. So they both suck in that way. But again, if you're going to go pick up LeGarrette Blount, I mean, he disappoints me time and again. I don't trust him. I hate the motherfucker. Oh, listen, and look, Luck is having an incredible season. It's only because these other two have had this incredible run going from the very get-go that Luck really is in the picture. But since he got going right around week 5, Luck has been absolutely on their level. Percentages, scoring, efficiency, everything. You're right. But ultimately, the record will be the difference, and that's why Luck won't be in the conversation. But fantasy-wise, again, he's keeping me in the conversation. I'm at number 1 in my league with Andrew Luck. But I'm playing the guy that has Mahomes this week. But I also have Deshaun Watson. So who would you play this week? Deshaun Watson at home versus Cleveland, a team that's getting very hot with a good defense, or Andrew Luck on the road in Jacksonville, potentially in the rain, and versus the Jacksonville defense, which, again, not the Jacksonville defense of last season, but they still have 2 very good corners. So who would you play? Luck or Watson? And I have to tell you, for me, right now, I have Watson in the game. But it's hard for me to not play Luck because you can count on Luck to just keep slinging that ball. But now, now that Deshaun Watson has Demaryius Thomas active too, I just don't know that the Cleveland's defense has what it takes to shut that down. I think you really see it light up. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Chime in. Seattle gets San Francisco twice in the last 4 weeks. Yes, that is very good for if you have the Seattle defense, that's gonna be a great coast for you. And also Chris Carson, a guy that I was like not high on to begin with. I felt like he was highly inconsistent, and now I mean he's running like Earl Campbell Jr. out there. I'm a big believer in Chris Carson right now. Yeah, I agree with that. Watson at home, yeah, I think it kind of projects away. But anytime I go with Watson at home, then Luck fires 5 fucking touchdowns. So I keep I'm kind of like off rhythm with these guys. Like I keep, although this week there was no going wrong because I got 29 points out of Luck. And I got 31 points out of Watson. So either one was pretty good, but 31 out of Watson would have helped me win by a little bit more. But Joey Amberline says Watson at home because he is running the ball a little bit. Buccaneers beating up on those Niners. Thank God it was a nice day for although we didn't get a touchdown, he still got 116 yards, and that's the beauty of Mike Evans. But I would like to offer a big fuck you. And that goes out to Peyton Barber. Peyton, I believed in you preseason that you gave me like 6 stinkers in a row. Then I drop you, and now all of a sudden you're the running back I always knew you could be. I hate it when don't you hate it when it's like a girlfriend that does way better than you after you. Like you break up with her and she starts dating somebody famous and then marries them. I've seen it happen too many times. John Mesh, he says his lineup is looking weak for the playoffs. Listen, your lineup has been weak all year. You've been winning by magic, pure evil wizardry has propelled you to first place in our league. Everybody shits the bed against you. And let me tell you something, man, your luck will run out. And if it gets in the playoffs, you only have to have your luck run out once. So, I think you're headed for shit the bed town. Now, that being said, I actually think you're probably going to win because you got all the mojo. Everybody has their worst game against you. And some seasons, it's your ride, man. And everything's breaking your way. And that's the way it goes. I think it may be your season. So, congratulations. You already won. You can stop playing. Jinx! Okay. So yeah, Seahawks versus the Panthers. I forgot who my pick was in that. I'd sure like to look it up, but we'll find out. John Garnett, how are you, brother? Welcome to the show. What did you guys do right this last week? Did you win your games? Are you in the playoffs? I'm locked in one league, probably going to get the bye week in my Comedians League, and I fought my way into 5th place in my league of record simply because I coached myself from 1st to 7th. Because I'm a fucking idiot sometimes. And that again, why I'm not tinkering first thing in the morning. This is why I've had to learn, don't tinker, because every time I tinkered, I fucking right up the fucking cornhole. Mike Ball, how are you, my man? Welcome to the show. Chargers, boy, they really dismantled those Cardinals. That was beautiful to watch. I mean, that was even, that was the thing, like, Melvin Gordon got me 19 points before he went out, and then Eckler got 21 points on the back end of that. And that's why I am concerned, but I'm not super concerned, because I feel like whatever he can't make up with just running, he will make up for catching the ball. Yeah, and Russell, man, Russell Wilson, the guy, listen, he just turns it up. The guy's just a star. I love watching him play. He just finds a way to win. I fucking love it. Going down there, beating the Panthers at home. Vikings getting it done versus the Pack. I thought the Pack might win this one because the Vikings on paper, they've got all the tools. They got all the power. And I said that Dalvin Cook would be the difference maker in this one. And even though he didn't have a huge day, I think it was just having him there that opened up the passing game in a way that wasn't there before. And I think that ultimately is what, and of course the defense was better than the Packers defense. It was just better than the Packers defense that day. And that's just the way it goes, Let's see. Joey Eberline won. Plus, I crushed it in my Pick'em League this week. I have to look at my Pick'em League. I honestly don't know, and I don't know if I even have that saved on my Mac, because I'm looking at my Mac right now. So I don't know. But okay, who do you think are going to make the NFC wild cards? Well, we're going to have to wait and see. I think at least this week before we can determine, because everybody's bunched up so much at the top, and I haven't had a chance to look at the rest of the schedule. Obviously, if the Cowboys lose this week, but I think the Cowboys, even if they lose, I think Washington's definitely going to also lose because again they got Colt McCoy now. Like they're so they're now in the wild card position. They're going to lose that position. I think the Cowboys might either they retain first place against and Philly slides in there, or maybe Philly slides in the top position and Dallas goes to the wild card. So it's going to bounce around quite a bit in that particular division. And of course, the Panthers, I would have to look at it. I haven't looked at it that closely just yet. In terms of the NFC wildcard race. But we'll see. I mean, that's going to take a little more shape. Right now, really, it's about fantasy football because for us, this is the last week. If you're in a decent league that knows how to schedule their playoffs so that you don't have a final during week 17, that is the dumbest shit. I don't even know how that is allowable for a league to have their final game in week 17. But I stupidly made that mistake last year, and the team that absolutely should have won, half her team took week 17 off, and she ended up losing in the second week of the. It was so stupid. Fuck that system. I didn't even realize that was an option. It should never be an option. Redskins are on the Titanic. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Iceberg ahead. Iceberg isn't hit. The iceberg hit the leg of Alex Smith right on the fucking ankle. It is over, my man. They can't. Adrian Peterson is going to carry them to the playoff. Not going to happen. Absolutely not at his age. Maybe a couple years ago, but not now. No way, no how. Colt McCoy, this is a guy that, it's not like he's like this college guy that we don't know what we got, and maybe he comes out and just fucking lights it up. That's not going to happen. We know what he can do, and it's not great. The Redskins are on the way down. It really comes down to the Eagles or the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys managed to hold on. I really do. I think this Thursday night game will be the last game that they lose this season, and that will keep them at the top. And then the wild cards are not going to go to the NFC East. Then they'll go to the NFC South probably, maybe in Atlanta. One of those guys are the Panthers, depending. They're down there and Houston is going to lock up the NFC South, that's for sure. So it should be very interesting. Seattle's in that mix. Because the Rams are obviously going to take the NFC West, so Seattle's in that mix. So, it's going to be a heady mix of the NFC to see who gets those wild card spots. Was it Joey Everline chiming in right here. Alex Smith got the Joe Theismann curse 31 years to the day. Was it really? Was it 31 years to the day that Joe Theismann got his leg broken? If that's true, man, that's some pretty amazing shit. That's pretty ridiculous. All right, listen, guys, I'm going to wrap this episode up. This has been a lot of fun. I will be back probably like Thursday or Friday or whatever to talk about the all-important Week 13, make or break. You're in or you're out. Decisions are made. Plays got to be made. Do you go for it? Do you gamble at all? Or do you just ride what you got? Same opponent and same final score. Wow! What a crazy-ass curse. I hadn't seen that at all. I don't know why more people aren't talking about that. That's so horrible. I love it, though. Fuck the Redskins. By the way, the team I beat is the Hogs, and that's because the guy in that league is a huge Redskins fan. And so the Cowboys beat him on Thursday, and then the Midnight Cowboys beat him on Monday night. It was a fantastic week. Go Cowboys! I love you guys. We'll see you later on this week.